Social media, guys, is not only about posting posts online.
Kind of behind every post you see on social media, there's an army of people behind it.
These are basically the skills and I would say the traits that social media and digital professional they should have.
Let's say we're gonna build a strategy now from scratch for 2025. What are the maybe the key pillars or things I need to have in mind to create a robust plan?
So we will be assessing the multiple digital touch points, and we will be assessing as well the social media performance. How is that working? Do they have even social media channels? Trends won't take you anywhere. Nowadays there is a problem, and I'm going to be addressing the elephant in the room. In 2022 an idea has been born, and that idea was the Middle East Social Media and Digital Association.
Rad, what's your dream scenario for the association?
I mean, that's really deep.
Rad Arekat is a social media and digital expert and the founder of the Middle East Social Media and Digital Association. In this episode, we break down social media misconceptions, how to build a social strategy in 2025, and discuss his mission to make the Middle East Social Media and Digital Association the unifying hub for all social media and digital marketeers in the region. Did you know that 44% of podcasts stop after episode 3? So that means all that time, energy, and money is just wasted, and you never get to truly see the benefits of podcasting. So if you want your show to stay alive and healthy, you can book a call in the link below, and let's get started today.
Thank you so much. I'm really humbled to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity. What a great setup.
Thank you, man.
I mean, I really like the setup and the effort behind the lovely studio that you have created.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. So, Rad, I always like to give the audience context of how I've met my guests. So, me and you actually connected at the 1 Billion Summit back in 2024. And we were both there, and you were telling me about the work you're doing in the social media space. I know, doing my research, you've been in social for God knows how long, working for some of the largest organizations in the world. And when you called me a couple of weeks back and we were having a conversation about the Middle East Social Media and Digital Association that you've been running for the last couple of years, it was interesting from that conversation how I was saying is that kind of like marketing, advertising? You're like, no, see, that's different. And I think that's for someone who's not an expert in that space, I would assume they're one and the same thing. So what I wanted to do today is really dive into social media specifically and your expertise in the field, because I've had lots of conversations on the podcast about social media, about marketing. Some people say it's dead. Some people say it's not what it used to be. It's a lot harder. So today, and I know you work as an advisor too. So today I want to debunk the myths and if I was coming to you, I'm like, Rad, I'm starting from scratch. What does a strong social media strategy, for example, in 2025 look like and need to be? But before we get into all of that, Rad, why don't you give all of us a little bit of background about yourself, and we'll take it from there.
That's a great intro that I cannot beat. I love the energy of your show, of course. So my name is Rad Arekat again. And for those who cannot pronounce my name in Arabic, my name is Rad Arekat. I've been in the UAE for the past 13 years. And I came from an advertising background. That was something prior to me shifting to the social media and digital spectrum. When I started my career, that was more on the creative side. And actually this is something that boosted and excelled and helped me big time and significantly when I shifted towards the social media and digital. And that was happening when the social media and digital start becoming a thing,
Sure.
Because prior to that, social media was a lot of people, they'd be okay, I'm posting on Facebook casually, I'm doing this and that on Instagram. Instagram was not a thing even back then. So Facebook was the primary platform, if you want. And then I started developing that passion towards social and digital. I got luckily enough, I would say, involved in one of my previous roles at one of the corporations, and I'm very confident to mention their name because this is one of the corporations that I've really learned a lot back then in my career. It's the HTC, basically. It's the Taiwanese manufacturers for smartphone and virtual reality, and that's actually where my career start getting shaped better and better, more focused towards social and the digital space, because we've been launching a lot of campaigns globally. And I got like, the opportunity as well to learn how to work with different teams around the globe, different like, time zones, different regions, what is like is okay to deal with within this region, what is not okay, and might not be acceptable for a specific audience. And from there, my career, like, start evolving and developing, and again, excelling more towards the social and digital spectrum. And throughout the years, I started, like, witnessing a gap, actually, when it comes to the social media and digital space. If we're talking about marketeers, there's like, a lot of communities for marketeers. If we're talking about the PR, there are like plenty of like, do you remember like we had that brief chat over the phone previously? Like there are like as well plenty of communities. But when it comes again to social media and digital, I've seen like, that there was a gap, and there was like no specific or defined, if you want, community for social and digital professionals and marketeers. So I said, like, why not? So in 2022, an idea has been born. And that idea was the Middle East Social Media and Digital Association. So what is the what is the
tell us, please.
So what is the association is all about?
Sure,
basically.
Please.
The Middle East Social Media and Digital Association is all about bringing the community together. It's all about becoming the leading hub in the region. So not only in a specific, like, geographical area, to bring basically the professionals who works in social and digital marketing under one roof, and give us actually the seat on the table when it comes to policy making, when it comes to elevating the overall profession for the different professionals that they're like, working in the industry. It's fair to a certain extent to say that, like, we're always coming under the wing of some other communities, and that is not fair. From the moment that you wake up in any day, you start scrolling in your phone. And trust me, there are plenty of social media managers and digital marketeers. They've been like, putting the time and effort to make that campaign happen, to post that, like, content, even to schedule it. So social media is not only about like, okay, I know how to post on social. That's fantastic. That's amazing. But there's a lot of strategies. There are a lot of planning. There are a lot of assessments that are happening behind the scenes. There are a lot of issues that these professionals, like, that they need to battle and deal with. I mean, battle is a big word, but still, like, they need to work with and try, like, to maneuver their ways and finding, like, the right people in terms of, finding the right solutions. Like, we have a lot of, for example, if we're talking about Facebook is one of the platforms that is always keeping all professionals on their toes. Like, they keep changing the algorithms, and the algorithms, like, is not giving us actually enough break. And issues can happen. And if you don't have the right set and technical background, then you will be like, in a big trouble. And then where you're trying, like, to seek the help of these professionals that I'm referring to, the social media and digital marketeers, basically.
On our call, you said something that really struck with me. You're like, Khaled, behind every like post you see on social media, there's an army of people behind it that put in the effort to just see that like post, that campaign and so on. And I think what I've seen when it comes to social media over the years, it seems to me from the outside perspective that if let's say you're entering the digital space, right?
Yeah.
As your career progresses, usually what I've seen is you start maybe as an account manager, then you become in the social lead, and like social media is part of the early years of your career. And as you progress in, I would call it in this big bubble of the marketing space, it seems that PR is like when you moving into like PR and stuff, that's when you start hitting the top of like the industry. And those in terms of a career progression, that's what I've seen, just not only from my wife, but so many people like in the space. So my question to you is, why is social still seen as just like, it's just an entry little thing? Like, I feel there's negative misconception about social, and it maybe doesn't get listening to you the credit it deserves, and should be maybe getting the same salaries, raises, prices as people in, you know, the higher levels of their marketing careers?
I'm really glad that you've asked this question, because like this is the misconception about
I figure
social
I can
media
tell.
and
I know.
digital marketing. I mean, yeah. Well, again, if we're talking about my career progression, for example, I'm just gonna take it for instance, like, you know, just like for the sake of the audience to have a better understanding that social media, guys, is not only about posting posts online. That's not it. Like, you know, I can, like, you know, talk for hours about this more
Yeah.
and more and more. You have different, like, you know, aspects, community management aspects. Some people, they specialize in it nowadays, where you, for example, our community is a niche in the Middle Eastern Social Media Digital Association. So this niche community, it requires, like, you know, a separate understanding, a dedicated person, a project manager who understands social and digital. That won't be like, you know, ChatGPT
Yeah, yeah.
or Gemini.
I can
or,
actually engage properly, right? In the right way, right? Sure.
Exactly. So it requires somebody who's, like, you know, hands-on experience and be able to actually manage that type of community. The career, circling back to the career progression, when I started back in the day, again, that was, like, you know, with the HTC Corporation here in the Middle East and North Africa region. I started as a content manager. So, and then that transitioned into more on all-rounder, I would say, digital marketing manager. And where I started, like, you know, getting more involved into influencers marketing campaign. To do an influencers marketing campaign, you'll have to have an allocated budget, for example.
Of course, yeah.
So this is something that, you know, it's not like, you know, going to be based on a barter deal or stuff like that. So, and building that relationship with the different influencers. And then I've been introduced to another segment of influencers called the tech reviewers or tech influencers. For example, these guys, they got the chance always to fly to Taiwan, but not myself. I've never had the chance actually to fly to Taiwan, but these guys, like, they were lucky enough to fly to Taiwan several times, where actually our, or HTC's actually offices or HQ is based.
Yeah.
And then after, like, you know, becoming a digital marketeer, I moved into an integrated marketing agency back in 2019. And there I've been lucky enough, actually, with that integrated marketing agency. It's a homegrown agency, by the way. I've been lucky enough to progress further in my career. And I've been luckier, actually, to work on one of the most unique projects in Abu Dhabi and in the UAE. I've worked with the Department of Community Development.
Okay. Oh, sick.
Yes.
Yeah, that's sick.
And that was, like, you know, my very first government entity that I've ever worked in in my life. And I've got, like, you know, immersed, and I've been, like, you know, sort of embedded at the beginning. So I've been working from their offices, understanding, like, you know, how things are working. It was a very fast-paced account, and they do have a lot of initiatives, and it's fascinating, like, you know, all the work that they do. And why I'm mentioning this in particular, because, like, you know, this sort of correlate with the association, and that's actually where the initial thinking came, like, okay, about building communities.
Okay.
So, you know, I've seen, like, you know, how much you can do as
Full
a
circle.
community. Exactly. And how much you can achieve, and even if it's a niche, like, you know, they built, like, you know, so many initiatives, like, you know, it's amazing, like, immense amount of work being put behind these type of initiatives, and they've worked on it, like, I as I recall, like, you know, day and night. I was part of the team, like, you know, that worked on, developed, like, several initiatives, and actually that's where I've got, like, you know, the inspiration to build that association as well.
Gotcha.
Like, you know, because again, the association is all about community.
Yes.
And then after that integrated marketing agency, I moved to another PR firm It's an American one, well-established one. You know that one.
Yeah.
Without mentioning the exact names, like you guys, you can always check my LinkedIn profile and you will be able to see where I have worked in the past, and you will be able to see all of my history. I'm not here to advertise any of the previous corporations that I've worked with before. So with the PR firm, of course, I joined them as a director. So I progressed. Again,
so you followed the typical progression that we're talking about. Okay.
So exactly. Let me break that down to you. So I started as a managerial level, and then I moved to a senior level, then a senior manager basically. And within the senior manager role, I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to build a team from the ground up. So I've put a team structure. I built a team with that integrated marketing agency in Abu Dhabi. So I built a team. We started 2-3 people, including myself. And then we progressed when I left the company, we've been around 8.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the team, including myself. So we've been around 9 people. And of course, we had different positions, social media managers, social media execs, digital marketeers. The digital marketeers, basically the ones who been looking after websites, mobile applications, and digital marketing performance, running campaigns and so on and so forth. And after that, I was as well in charge of as a senior, I was a team lead. And then I progressed to associate director, and post that I reached to head of department. And after that, I moved to a PR firm where it was a slightly different. I won't say it's a PR, heavily focused on PR firm. They would to be perceived back then as a strategic firm.
Yes.
It's a more a strategic comms firm, basically.
Yes.
And they're more of a firm on the advisory and consultancy side of a thing. So the distinction between both, actually, the agency and the firm. With agency, they will be more focused on doing the day-to-day job and the implementational work, while on the firm side of the business, you work more strategic, more high level. You care less, honestly, about implementation. So you just advise on projects, and I think that is the ultimate goal for whoever works in the industry. Now a lot of people, they aspire and would want and would kill for that opportunity to happen, on the advisory firm. It's not for everyone, and agency is not for everyone.
That's true. Very true.
It can be a matter of preference.
And I've spoken to people who have been in agencies for 20 years, and then they went client side, and we've had whole debates about the differences, the timelines, the struggles, the different politics and approvals you need. And you touched on you've been working with the government also for a couple of years, and you also have that experience working with that PR firm, so more strategic, long term. I'm curious, if I came to you, if I'm a private company and now or the government, and I'm coming to you, I'm Rad, and want advice on my social, I want to build the social strategy from the ground up. Is it are there foundational things that you would be implementing in both? Because listening to you, it might be fast paced, but government's also a much longer. I feel it's much harder to build a strategy for them because you have so many different initiatives, priorities for the long term. Whereas if I'm a private company like myself, I'm I have a campaign, we have a specific thing we want to launch over the next, 6 months to a year. So it's shorter term. So is there a difference in when you're giving advice depending on the type of client, let's say government and private, and how do the timelines match up in those two as well?
Of course. Definitely. With government, we are talking about strategic comms. It's way more complex than when we're talking about the private sector.
Okay.
Private sector might be quite, I would say, fluid sometimes, or dynamic. Why the government sometimes, it depends as well. I've seen a huge shift, just to be very fair, with the government recently. The level of, let's say, professionalism and the level of implementation versus strategy versus launching initiatives and being present on social media, it's really they've upped their game big time from the time that I start working with government. So
Sure.
I've seen both differences. But to answer your question, so a lot of government entities, yes, they do have a complex layers of approvals internally. And that is due to the delicacy of the line of the
Of
business
course.
that they're dealing
Absolutely.
with.
Yeah.
And you cannot just communicate the right messaging, for example, with government. When you are at the foundational phase or level, when you start basically building a social media from scratch.
Yeah. Let's say we're going to build a strategy now from scratch for 2025. And I came to you, what are the maybe the key pillars or things I need to have in mind to create a robust plan?
Yeah. So we start with the very foundational and basics. The first thing first, we need to do a proper assessment.
Okay.
So that is I would say the very first thing that I would touch and do before start working or developing anything and getting immersed into building the strategy and developing it and say okay, these are basically the key messaging that we will be using. No, we start with the assessment first, and then following the assessment we do a benchmarking exercise.
And in the assessment, what are the criteria you're assessing? What are you checking for me?
So we analyze usually the overall online presence
across all different channels.
Yeah, I mean, given my background,
Sure.
and that is actually the difference between a social media and digital professionals. I'm one of I've been as well fortunate enough to have both backgrounds and both let's say experience, and that's actually of course backed with my education, because I'm currently doing a digital marketing masters in digital marketing from
Oh,
North
okay.
Ontario University.
Mabruk, man. Good
Thank
luck.
you so much. I mean, I'm wrapping this up, inshallah, hopefully this year. But I've done it the other way around, because I do have the experience,
Yeah.
but we just wanted to learn basically the frameworks and what to be done and
Sure.
how to do it the right way. So back to the point.
So online brand presence first, the overall online presence first.
Yes. So
Okay.
we will be assessing the multiple digital touch points, and we will be assessing as well, the social media performance. How is that working? What is working? What is not working? Do they have even social media channels? Have they booked, for example, the names and the handles for their social media channels? What is it? What is it that they want to achieve by being present on a social media or on XYZ from the platforms?
That's a good question.
A lot of corporations, entities, different type of businesses or even brands. They just want to be everywhere, and the social media is no longer working back similar to the back in the old days basically. So it progressed, and now what used to work let's say 5 or 10 years ago, it doesn't work anymore. So you need to be quite agile, stay on top of the game. Trends won't take you anywhere. A trend is something that you can jump on, but if you haven't built that two-way conversation with your audience, you won't get anywhere. And understanding as well your audience is another important and crucial factor. Because again, for example, let's take your podcast as an example, if you don't mind me.
Please,
taking
yeah,
it
of course.
as an example.
Yeah.
You don't want everyone and anyone to follow you. You have a niche as well. You have a specific type of, let's say, followers
Yep.
or audience that they really enjoy to watch your podcast. I'm one of them, by the way.
I appreciate it.
I'm a big fan, because nowadays there is a problem, and I'm going to be addressing the elephant in the room.
Let's do it.
There is a lot of content creation around entertainment and nonsense content. And that is becoming a problem in the industry. Educational content is not there. Nobody wants to watch educational content. Nobody wants to learn from something constructive or other people's experiences. And unfortunately, the algorithms of the platforms, because at the end of the day, they're monetizing from these type of audiences. they'll have to adapt, and they will have like, to build the algorithms the other way around, like, around the audience, and what do they favor and what do they like, and okay, what type of content should we push more, for example. So the assessment, circling back to the assessment, of course. So after we do the assessment, we do benchmarking analysis. We've established like, our tone of voice, who is our potential target audience, and what is it that we want to achieve. Okay. So our objectives. So why do we present? Why do we be present, for example, on Instagram and LinkedIn, for example? And why not on X and YouTube, for instance?
Is there the question you're asking is very important in the sense that I didn't even think about, like, why do I want to be on Instagram? Like, I think a lot of people we want to be everywhere because we think like we should be everywhere to get as much access to as many different audiences. But is there, from your perspective, is there diminishing returns if I'm on more platforms? Like, can that hurt me negatively if I'm not like building my content in the correct way for those platforms?
That's correct, because you're not creating tailored content.
Like, exactly. Yeah.
And this is something else that as well, it will raise the awareness of the social media and digital professionals again, because that's how we differentiate between the social media strategy, the digital strategy, and the content strategy.
Okay. So all different, all three, we have to bring it together.
Exactly.
Goddamn.
So
that's a lot of work.
Of course, like, indeed. I mean, it's a lot of work. I mean, especially for those who are watching potentially, and they're coming from an agency background, they do understand, like, the differences between the three strategies that you're building, and it depends on so many factors, honestly. Like, it depends on the budgets. It depends on, like, how agile is the team, how much are they open-minded and receptive to different and new ideas. Let's be, for example, on Facebook. Let's be on Instagram. Now, a lot of people, they say like, okay, you know what? Let's just like launch a TikTok channel. Seriously? Do you know how much work it takes to build a TikTok channel?
Successfully, yes.
Successfully, yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
But like, not successfully.
Yeah.
That's for another conversation.
Yeah,
because,
for sure.
Because at the end of the day, like, but like launching a channel is the easiest thing to do.
Yes.
But putting the fuel in that channel.
Exactly.
Is the I would say is the very thin line between, like, launching something and sustaining something.
Within social media, I just had this thought. Are there like, would you ever, let's say you want to hire someone. Would you hire someone who's just a social media, let's say, expert in general? Or would you be like, okay, for this client, this project, this is going to be a very LinkedIn heavy project. So I need a social guy that is just like an expert in LinkedIn. Like, in the social space, are there people that are niched down into like platform experts? Because what I found with like my experience in doing the show, I don't have the time to become an expert in all the platforms. It's just me, right?
Yeah.
So I focus on LinkedIn and I focus on YouTube because that's where I get my best return. I post on Instagram, I post on TikTok. I've had many conversations on the show about this, but I'm going to be honest, it's not like I tailored the content specifically to the right way and the right hook and the right whatever, because I don't have the time to do it myself.
Of course.
And diverge into that. So in social, are there also like niched experts that are like platform specific?
Yes, there are. In short. So that was like one of the Ferrari, let's say, plans that I had in mind before, or the Lamborghini ones. Like, I'm not a big fan of, like, supercars, just like, for the sake of awareness. But we back then, when we initially, like, I've been given the opportunity to build that team, I've been thinking about, like, breaking things down, and that's actually how we will stand out from the competition in the market. I'm talking about 2020 to 2023-ish,
sure.
During those years. So many agencies are there, like, the competition is getting more aggressive in the market. So you'll have to have, like, that right edge. And everyone wants to jump in social media. We've seen, like, a huge demand in terms of people, they want to work with us. They're coming to us. Let's like, work on, back then we've been doing integrated servicing. So we're working PR and social media.
Yeah.
So we're
all
giving
in,
them
all
like,
in one. Yeah.
And sometimes like, the remit of, or the scope of work might be, we're working on creative, we're working on social media, and we're working on PR. So all three together, we combine them, package them, and offer them to our client as our unique offerings. So we wanted to take that to the next level. And here, I'll be answering your question. So we wanted to have okay, here are the specialized people working on Instagram. Here are the specialized people, we packaged them sort of. So we've done all of the Meta group together. So Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. WhatsApp, by the way, as well, it's considered as a social media channel because there are
Oh, it is?
Yes, of course. Because,
interesting.
Because there are other entities like, for example, Emirates, Etihad, Aramex, they're using it as a B2C channel. If I'm talking about government, they're majesties and excellencies.
Sure.
They are using this as a broadcast channel.
Gotcha.
So they will be using it as sort of Telegram. But it's like one-way conversation.
Yeah.
It's not two-way conversation.
Yeah.
Like there will be announcements, there will be greetings, there will be the latest news. If you're following one of, for example, the highnesses, majesties again, and excellencies.
Yeah.
That's when it comes to WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram. And then if we're talking about YouTube, Google, it's as well considered another set of social media because Google and YouTube, they're Google it owns YouTube basically, and that falls under digital more than social, I would say.
I would say
especially
so
especially the Google aspect. And then you do have the B2B channels, X, formerly called Twitter, and now you have the LinkedIn, which is heavily focused on B2B. So ideally we wanted to build the team around these channels.
Gotcha.
And then TikTok emerged in 2020. It was that
COVID's
year
when everyone found it,
yes,
right? You know
exactly.
what I'm saying?
I mean, it was way before COVID.
I know, but we found it here, I think, in COVID.
Yeah, but people here, start getting more ridiculous on TikTok and start doing all of the dance stuff and the live stuff and the monetization stuff as well on TikTok. And that's how you initially build the team. So around the channels, not per se necessarily this is the right approach, I would say, but sometimes it's required. I mean, it depends on the set of clients that you're dealing with at the end of the day.
Of course as well, right? Each project's going to have different expertise, different needs. So like you said, you built the overarching teams and then you got the specialists for each platform to fit into it.
Precisely.
So, and you talked about at the beginning of the conversation, because I wanted to touch on the association. I know we don't have too much time. So there's just to round off on these 2 points. So first of all, if I came to you Rad, okay, because you said there's a gap between social and digital and that whole space. Let's say now I'm a young guy. I want to enter the social media space, not necessarily maybe as a creator, but as a professional like yourself. Because you touched on something earlier. You mentioned technical skills, that's not something I usually hear about that you would need as a social media guy. So what skills do you think you need now as a social media executive to be successful that maybe in the past weren't so important?
I'll package them together and I'll say they're skills and traits together. So
okay.
So the traits, you'll have to be, for example, agile, curious by nature. You'll have to be social. So extrovert.
Kind of built into the thing, but
So extrovert, not really introvert. And this is something that we would love to see from more the social media and digital professionals. Moving from behind the screen and coming to the front row, for example. And coming to the first line of the audiences, basically, in real networking events and real events in life. These, when it comes to the traits. When it comes to the skills, so skills, I would say planning, analytical, analytical mindset. So you'll have to be
understand the data, right?
Understand the data. Yeah. This is one of the things that, honestly speaking, used to freak me out at the beginning when I started
it's hard.
Early in the day in my career.
It's hard.
There are plenty of numbers. And just for the sake of as well, like, for everyone's awareness, I've never been like, really good with numbers. But with time, you start like, pick these things up.
Yeah.
And you start like, getting more and more understanding of, okay, so these numbers are like this. It means that there's an issue.
Yes.
And if I translate this to our language, so we have an issue, for example, with engagement. How do we tackle this issue? By something called optimization. So how do you do optimization? So you'll have to understand content. You will have to understand like,
The whole picture, right?
Yeah, the whole picture,
Yeah,
the audience, their preferences, what do they like, the demographics. So that's why where the analytical mindset will become really handy for any social media or digital professional. And I would say like for digital professionals is more than the social media managers or execs. Because at the end of the day, you would need this as a skill, and this is something that you will be using on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It's not like, it's like, okay, it's a checklist. No, it's a prerequisite.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to keep evolving that as, like you said earlier, the platforms evolve, things
100%.
change. So it's all this
Yeah.
and continuous like revving up of it.
I would say like writing skills, like in terms of the bilingual professionals and experts. So you should have that edge as well, like, of being able to write at least English, I would say.
Yeah.
And not to be biased or anything, but like English and Arabic, for example, in my line of business, like it's a prerequisite to be bilingual, to work, to understand Arabic as well, because like we live in yes, I mean, Dubai, it's all about English. Nobody speaks Arabic much, but like, most of the government clients that I've dealt with in the past and currently they're like based in Abu Dhabi. It's good to understand the Arabic language.
Absolutely.
And good to understand as well the cultural nuance, I would say.
Exactly.
So that's another thing. What else? Like, in terms of skills as well, sometimes you might want to, even if you reach to a director level or even if you excel more and more in your career, you would still like, do a bit of community management. You would still do a bit of like, the technical
Like
stay
in touch with it, basically.
Like, yeah. For example, tomorrow we gonna wake up and there's a new update that has been rolled out by Meta or by YouTube or something. This is like, it will be a crisis for all social media and digital marketeers. You will find a lot of memes, by the way, on the internet about this, because that's the day where we actually have to spend extra hours trying to get our heads around, okay, how to tackle this recent update that they've rolled out yesterday
Exactly.
while we've been sleeping,
And if you've been winning, let's say for like the last 6 months on, let's say version 1 of the algorithm, once version 2 comes out, it's almost like
100%.
It's a brand new race now. Let's see who's gonna win
100%.
and who's gonna be the fastest to figure this out and what's the formula and algorithm.
So these are basically the skills and tech, like I would say like the traits that social media and digital professional they should have.
Yeah.
And again, it depends on the agency or company that they're hiring for the skills. Sometimes they have like certain gaps and they want to fill them from within the team, I would say. And sometimes they will be like doing it like reverse engineering, basically.
Yeah.
So looking at the scope of work
and building back.
and building back on it, like basically, okay, so this is the scope of work, this is what we need, and this is, for example, the account manager, what they should do in terms of like, the daily operations in social and digital.
I wanted to round off our conversation for today, Rad, talking more about the association, because when you touched on it earlier that it's all about building a community, but I know from your side it's also about not only community, but like sharing knowledge, mentorship, and so what I guess for you, if I told you like, Rad, what's your dream scenario for the association? Where do you want to see it, for example, in 5 years? What would be like, that would be like, fuck, that was good. Yeah, I hit a big goal there.
I mean, that's really deep. I mean, ultimately, and to build that like you really and well-established and well-established association from the ground up again, and have that community together in one room, where we actually grow in numbers and speak the same language. That's another very important aspect for the association. Have a lot of at least a good knowledgeable exchange sessions from the community between each other. The mentorship as well is something that I'm really hoping and aspiring for the community members to be getting as well from the community. To have at least impactful events when it comes to networking events. So not just the random networking event where we just bring people together and put them in one room. A really impactful events that will ignite that interesting conversations between the same professionals. There are a lot of pain points, I would say, that a lot of professionals that dealing with and battling with on a daily basis, especially when it comes to social media and digital marketing. There's a dark side of social media. I've spoken enough about this on previous articles and previous social media channels, and I cannot stress enough on that.
Yeah.
But the dream and ultimate goal to build that robust network across the region. So not only in a specific geographical location or in a specific country, so across the region where we can actually create an impact, inspire one another, and grow significantly.
So you want to become basically the ultimate social digital knowledge hub and almost like an accelerator for people's careers and so on. In a way.
Like a movement.
Yes, exactly.
Like a hub.
Yes. The home basically.
Yes.
The home of social, in a way.
I mean, the home, the home for social media and digital professionals.
Yes.
In the region.
Yeah.
Where they can, earn that seat on the table again, and share, innovative ideas and how can we together actually elevate the profession and take it to the next level.
Yeah.
Because currently, and unfortunately, I don't know, and it's a shame that there is no such a thing exists in the no such an association exists in the region or in the UAE, for example.
Yeah.
And that is, I don't know why this happened. I mean, perhaps one of the reasons that I've been initially thinking about it, perhaps the social and digital, it's a newly let's say emerging profession. So it was not there. It was not around in the previous.
Doesn't have that history.
There was no history.
Sure.
Now it's becoming a thing. And at the beginning of our conversation and discussion today, you've mentioned that. Yeah, but we've always been some sort of fling, if I may use that term.
I mean,
we're just a side, sidekick, or we're no, actually that's not the case anymore, because campaigns being led, driven, developed, created by social media and digital professionals. Nights we spend working on developing guidelines, strategies, content strategies.
I've seen, man.
a lot of work. I mean, exactly. So you can understand the amount of efforts that been put behind the profession. For some reason, none of these efforts were highlighted or spoken about in the past. So I don't know what is the main reason, and that's why actually we exist today. And I keep saying, even to the board members in the Middle East Social Media and Digital Association, because it's not a me thing, it's a we thing.
Yes. And it's non-profit too, right?
It's a non-profit association. So I founded it, but I am more than happy to pass on this torch after some time, because I do something else as a full-time employee, for example. And I'm not one of the people, by the way, who's encouraging people to leave their jobs and just do a bungee jump and be more rational, guys, about it. Stop watching this ridiculous content on social media. I mean, that is ultimate BS, if I may say that in a very diplomatic way. So, of course, at the end of the day, the association ultimate goal is to become the unifying hub for all social media and digital marketeers in the region.
There we go. Now we have the clip for the socials.
Yes, that's why I took a minute.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, to get it ready.
To put all of my thoughts in one go.
And what you talked about, Rad, is over that really struck with me when it comes to like an association or a community is the pain points in it. So I'm part of a community called Founder Connects. So it's a community of over 300 plus founders in startups, and the conversations we have, it's so helpful to be talking to someone and be like, oh man, you're struggling with, like, let's say engagement. I'm doing too. Khaled, this is what I did. Let me help with that. Or this is how I fundraise, whatever. So when you're around people that are going through the same problems as you, you can also learn. First of all, it feels great to be like, oh, it's not just me. So you have a community around you. Also, you really get to learn from a lot of people who have either gone through things that you've gone through, have the same challenges and so on. So I completely understand your vision and the idea for the community. I just want to round off my conversation today with two more questions, Rad, just to be conscious of our time, because they're questions I ask all my guests.
Yeah.
Looking back here in life, either personally or professionally, when I ask you the question, what are you most proud of for yourself? And he's smiling, so I think he knows it's coming. What would you say?
No, I was not fully prepared for this, and I did not see this coming, but it's a very good question that you're asking towards the end of the discussion. The thing that I'm really most proud of, the career progression. I started, guys, as a designer, literally. Like, I graduated back in the day, without mentioning the year. So I won't feel like, so old, but majoring graphic design and minoring communication. Again, it helped me big time to be the person or to be the professional that I am today. So looking back at this career progression, it's just mind blowing.
Because you started literally from, like you said, as designers, like the brand. You're right at the beginning, and you grew through all the different verticals in the space, right?
Just to be fair, I've reached to a director level as well in the advertising world.
Sure.
So I've been previously a creative director for British firm. Here was in the UAE. Like, I've been working, at least I've worked in that firm for about 4 years. So again, I've been a director level, but I'm perhaps one of these people, like the hustlers type, the ambitious, the curious. So I've always wanted to learn more. I always wanted to take myself to the next level. Starting in the design, it's great. Don't get me wrong, it's fantastic. But I'm really proud of how far I came. So until this moment, and how much I've accomplished over looking back at the years and looking back at my career progression, where I started and where I ended up. I've worked, by the way, in multiple regions, just as well, to be fair. So that as well, gave me that boost in terms of shaping my overall career.
No, I appreciate that, man, and I respect it too. I think sometimes I love asking that question because I think it's nice to give everyone a pause and just to reflect on
of course.
Like, we've done some shit. Like, we did a lot to get here. You should be proud of it, man.
13 years.
It's not a short amount of time.
13 years in Dubai. 1 year it was in Ivory Coast. That's for another story.
Oh, that's a different podcast.
I was in West Africa for 1 year. I've learned a lot as well. And prior to that, I was working in Palestine. So I've worked in different markets. I had a visibility on different, let's say, landscapes, and that actually helped me big time to shape my career the way it became today.
100%, man. All those experiences, especially not just different companies, different roles, different markets, different all that comes together, to get you to where you have today. So I completely understand that. And for my last question, Rad,
yes,
what is the message you'd like everyone to take home with them today?
Oh, that's another very good one and unpredicted. The message that I want to give to everyone, it's around, I would say, mental well-being. Working in social media and digital marketing, it's tough, and it gets sometimes, most of the time, really intense. But the message that I want to give everyone, I'm going to circle back to the association.
Yes, of course.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Join the community. There are brilliant minds are already on board. And whoever I've shared and the link, and I invited already to the association, they are getting really excited about the fact that we are building this community together. It's not a one-man show per se. And the one message that I want everyone to take home for them: join the community.
Join the community. Well, you heard it here.
Just like you join the community, you will get a lot of opportunities to meet like-minded people. You will get the chance as well to connect with different experiences from different backgrounds. You might land your next job opportunity through the community.
You never know. Of course. Yeah, that's why
you
communities are awesome.
That's what's in it, for you guys. Because a lot of members, they keep asking and repeating the same question over and over again. What's in it for me to join the community? There's a lot for you to join the community, but we are building it, and as we are building it, we want to move it to the next level, and we cannot move to the next level without having enough people on board.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And we'll make sure to put all the links, to your LinkedIn and the association in the show notes. So if anyone wants to join. Rad, man, thank you so much for coming on the show today, man.
Thank you for having me.
This was such a blast. It was really fun to dive in, to be a very focused conversation on social and digital. I've touched on lots of these different aspects throughout many of my conversations, but it's rare that I've had to sit with someone who's just been very focused on this particular area. So I've learned so much from you today, and I think anyone in the social space, if you're a young professional, whatever, can take so much. If you want to join the association, guys, you know where to go now. So just thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me today. I really appreciate it, and I cannot stress enough how lovely is your studio that you have built.
Thank you, man.
So Khalid has his own dedicated space, and that shows a lot of dedication and a lot of passion behind this lovely show. You definitely, guys, should follow him and subscribe to his channel.
See, it's not me saying it this time, he's saying it, all right?
That's me understanding the call to action towards the end of the session.
Exactly, man.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure. Guys, everyone listening, thank you so much for your time. Please make sure to like, share, follow, and subscribe to the podcast. I hope it helps. Pod on all channels. And as always, guys, hope it helps.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye. Peace out. Bye-bye. Thank you. Awesome.
And that's another episode in the bag, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, podcasting is like this massive jigsaw puzzle, and my job is to help you find that missing piece. So if you're someone who's looking to launch their own podcast or take their podcast to the next level, you can book a call today and let's get started. TikTok.